Caught my fiancée getting rawed by her work friend, then had the nerve to say I'd never find someone like her. So I disappeared. A year later, she's full of regret. But what I did next? She'll remember it for the rest of her life. My dad died 2 months ago. Pancreatic cancer. We knew it was coming, but that doesn't make it easier. He went from diagnosis to gone in 8 months. I spent every weekend at the hospital, watching him shrink away while trying to keep his spirits up. My girlfriend Rita knew how hard this was on me. Or at least, I thought she did. We'd been together 4 years. Living together for 2. I'm 28, she's 27. I thought we were building something real. We had plans, travel, maybe kids eventually, the whole deal. She was there through Dad's diagnosis, held me when I cried after that first oncology appointment. I thought she was my rock. The funeral was on a Tuesday. Dad wanted it simple, just family and close friends at the cemetery, then a small gathering at my mom's house. Rita said she couldn't get time off work. Her boss at the marketing firm was a hard sauce, and she'd already used her vacation days. I was hurt, not gonna lie. But I told myself I understood. Bills don't stop for grief, right? Monday night, before I drove to my hometown, she held me in bed. Told me she loved me. Said she'd be thinking of me. We had sex, gentle, intimate, what I thought was a loving goodbye before a hard day. Looking back now, I wonder if she was already planning it. Or if she effed me one last time out of guilt. The funeral was brutal. Seeing my mom break down. My sister flying in from across the country. Dad's brother giving a eulogy that had everyone sobbing. I kept checking my phone, hoping for a text from Rita. Something. Anything. She sent one message, thinking of you baby. I drove back Wednesday evening instead of staying another night like planned. Mom said she understood, that I probably wanted to be home with Rita after such a hard day. The 2-hour drive felt like forever. I just wanted to collapse into my girlfriend's arms and let everything out. I walked into our apartment at 7:43 p.m. I remember the exact time because I'd texted Rita saying I was almost home, and she hadn't responded. Figured she was in the shower or something. Our bedroom door was closed, which was weird. We never closed it when it was just us. I could hear something, movement, breathing. My first thought was that she was working out. She sometimes did yoga videos in the bedroom. I opened the door. She was on top of him. Brandon. Her effing work friend she'd told me 1,000 times I had nothing to worry about. The guy who wasn't her type. The guy who was like a brother to her. That brother was balls deep in my girlfriend in our bed while I still had graveyard dirt on my dress shoes. They didn't notice me at first. I just stood there, frozen. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing. It was like reality had glitched. This couldn't be happening. Not today. Not after what I'd just been through. Rita saw me first. Our eyes met over Brandon's shoulder. You know what I expected? Shock. Guilt. Tears. Something human. Instead, she just stopped moving. Looked at me with this expression I'd never seen before. Almost. Annoyed? Like I'd interrupted something important. SHT, was all she said. Not I'm sorry. Not this isn't what it looks like. Just SHT, like she'd been caught sneaking cookies before dinner. Brandon finally turned around, saw me, and at least had the decency to look terrified. He scrambled off the bed, DK swinging, trying to grab his clothes. OF, man, I'm sorry, I didn't think. Get out, I said. My voice sounded weird, like it was coming from someone else. He grabbed his SHT and basically ran past me. Didn't even put his boxers on first. Just clutched his clothes and booked it out of our apartment. I heard the front door slam. Rita was sitting on the bed now, our sheet wrapped around her. Our sheet. The one we'd picked out together at Target when we first moved in. She'd insisted on the higher thread count. Well, she said. I guess you know now. That was it. Her opening statement after I caught her effing another man hours after I put my father in the ground. I sat down on the chair in the corner, the one where I usually threw my clothes. My legs felt weak. How long? She shrugged. Actually effing shrugged. Does it matter? Yeah, Rita. It matters. A few months. While I was watching my dad die, she was effing Brandon. While I was researching funeral homes, she was sneaking around behind my back. While I was holding my mom as she sobbed over the casket, she was in our bed with him. Why? I asked. That's when she got angry. Like she had the right to be angry. She started this whole speech about how I'd been emotionally unavailable during Dad's illness. How I was always gone on weekends. How Brandon understood her needs, made her feel desired, gave her attention I wasn't giving. Your dad was dying, I said. I was watching my father die. And I was here alone. She shot back. Do you know how hard it's been for me? You coming home depressed all the time? Never wanting to go out? Always talking about hospital visits and test results? Brandon made me feel alive again. I stared at her. This woman I'd loved. who I'd planned a future with, who I'd thought was my partner. My dad was dying. I know that. But the world didn't stop spinning just because your dad got sick. I have needs. I needed my boyfriend, and you weren't there. I was 2 hours away, watching my father waste away. I was there every weekend because my mom needed me. Because he needed me. Because that's what you do for family. She rolled her eyes. Actually rolled her effing eyes. See? This is what I mean. It's always about your family, your pain, your grief. What about me? What about you? You couldn't keep your legs closed while I was burying my father? That's what about you? That's when she said it. The words that still replay in my head when I can't sleep. You'll never find someone like me. I'm the best thing that ever happened to you, and when you realize that, I'll already be gone. No one else will put up with your depressing BS. No one else will love you like I did. You'll be alone, and you'll deserve it. I stood up, grabbed my gym bag from the closet and started throwing clothes in it. She watched from the bed, not moving. Where are you going? She asked. Jerome's. Of course. Running away like always. I stopped packing. Turned to look at her. I buried my father yesterday. Yesterday, Rita. And you couldn't even wait one effing day to keep your hands off him. Don't be so dramatic. It's not like I planned it for today. How considerate of you. I finished packing. Grabbed my phone charger, my laptop, my toiletries. She just sat there watching. As I headed for the door, she spoke again. You'll be back. When you calm down and think rationally, you'll realize you're overreacting. Brandon means nothing. It was just sex. I turned around one last time. Just sex? In our bed? While I was at my father's funeral? You don't understand. You've been emotionally gone for months. I've been like a single woman already. Brandon just. He was there. And I wasn't there because my dad was dying. Stop saying that like it excuses everything. Yes, your dad was dying. But I was living. I needed to feel alive. I left. Didn't slam the door. Didn't make a scene. Just walked out with my bag and drove to Jerome's place. Jerome took one look at me and knew something was effed. We'd been boys since high school. He didn't ask questions, just handed me a beer and pointed to the couch. I told him everything. He listened, shook his head, and said, "Bro, that's effing cold. Even for Rita." Even for Rita. Because apparently, everyone but me had seen the red flags. Update 1, 3 days later. Hey everyone. Op here. Didn't expect my post to get this much attention. I've been reading your comments and DMs. To answer some common questions. Yes, I'm done. No, I'm not going back. No, this isn't salvageable. I went back to the apartment yesterday with Jerome and his brother Marcus to get my stuff. Rita was at work. I wanted to be in and out, no drama. I packed everything that was mine. My PS5, my records, my dad's watch collection he'd left me. Thank God I hadn't brought those to the apartment yet. My clothes, my books. While packing, I found things that made me sick. A men's body wash that wasn't mine in the shower. A phone charger by her side of the bed that wasn't either of ours. CNDM wrappers in the trash. We hadn't used CNDMS in 2 years. But the thing that really got me was her journal. I know. I shouldn't have read it. But it was sitting right there on the nightstand, and I'm weak. I flipped through it. The entries about Brandon went back 4 months. 4 effing months. While I was spending nights at the hospital, she was writing about how electric their connection was. How he made her feel seen in ways I never did. How the SX was transcendent. But what really caught my eye were the entries about her insecurities. Specifically, about my friend Kayla. Kayla and I have known each other since college. We were in the same program, ended up in the same friend group. She's genuinely one of the coolest people I know, works in tech, rock climbs, has this infectious energy. We've always been platonic. Always. But according to Rita's journal, she was convinced Kayla wanted me. Pages and pages of jealous rants. How Kayla dressed too nice when she knew I'd be at group hangouts. How she laughed too hard at my jokes. How she always offered to help when I needed anything. How she was everything Rita wasn't, naturally athletic, professionally successful, effortlessly beautiful. One entry from 3 months ago, saw Kayla's Instagram post from her climbing trip. Of course she looks perfect in athletic wear. Of course Matthew liked it. He says they're just friends, but I see how she looks at him. If I wasn't in the picture, she'd make her move in seconds. Sometimes I hate her for existing. Another from 2 months ago, Brandon makes me feel like Kayla must make Matthew feel wanted, desired, special. Is this what Matthew wants? Someone who can keep up with him physically? Someone who doesn't need makeup to be pretty? Someone who makes 6 figures and doesn't complain about their job? The projection is insane. She was so worried about Kayla being a threat that she became the threat herself. I took photos of some pages, for the divorce lawyer everyone's telling me to get, even though we're not married. Left the journal where I found it. Left my key on the counter with a sticky note that just said done. Rita's been blowing up my phone. First angry texts about how I violated her privacy by reading her journal. Then about how I had no right to take the PS5, I bought it. Then switching to how we need to talk like adults. I haven't responded to any of it. Kayla reached out yesterday. Just a simple text, hey, heard about what happened with Rita. I'm so sorry you're going through this, especially so soon after losing your dad. If you need anything, a meal, a distraction, someone to talk to, I'm here. I stared at that text for a long time. Here was someone Rita was convinced wanted to destroy our relationship, offering genuine support with no ulterior motive. Meanwhile, the woman who loved me was effing her coworker while I grieved my father. The irony isn't lost on me. Update 2, 1 week later. Rita showed up at Jerome's place last night. Full makeup, dress I bought her for her birthday, crying. Jerome answered the door. I heard her asking for me, saying she needed to talk to me, that it was important. Jerome, God bless him, just said, he doesn't want to see you. Please leave. She started yelling through the door. How I was being immature. How I was throwing away 4 years over one mistake. How she deserved a chance to explain. One mistake? I called out. 4 months isn't one mistake, Rita. You read my journal? You had no right. And you had no right to F Brandon in our bed while I was at my dad's funeral, but here we are. She broke down then. Full sobbing. Saying she was sorry, that she'd made a mistake, that Brandon meant nothing, that she'd do anything to fix this. There's nothing to fix, I told her through the door. You KLD it. It's dead. Like my dad. Remember him? The guy I was burying while you were getting railed? Maybe that was harsh. But I'm all out of soft. She left after Jerome threatened to call the cops. But not before screaming that I'd regret this, that I'd never find someone who loved me like she did, that I'd come crawling back. The thing is, I've been thinking about what love means. Love is my mom sleeping in a hospital chair for 3 months straight. Love is my sister flying back every weekend despite having 2 kids and a full-time job. Love is my dad fighting through pain just to stay with us a little longer. Love isn't effing your coworker while your partner buries their parent. That's not love. That's just selfishness wearing a love costume. On a lighter note, Kayla and I grabbed coffee today. Not a date. Just 2 friends catching up. She didn't mention Rita once, didn't try to badmouth her, didn't make it about the situation. We talked about her latest climbing trip, about this coding bootcamp she's teaching, about normal SHT. For the first time in months, I didn't think about CNCR or infidelity or betrayal for a whole hour. I just existed as a person, not as a grieving son or a cheated on boyfriend. It was nice. Update 3, 2 weeks later. Quick update because the messages keep coming. Rita's been spiraling. According to mutual friends, Brandon wants nothing to do with her now that it's out in the open. Apparently, he thought it was just fun on the side and has no interest in an actual relationship. Shocking absolutely no one. She's been telling people I'm abusive, that I emotionally neglected her, that I forced her to find comfort elsewhere. Most people aren't buying it, especially when they hear about the funeral timing. Her best friend Diana actually reached out to apologize for Rita's behavior, said she had no idea about Brandon and was disgusted. I've been in therapy. Started last week. My therapist is helping me process both the grief of losing my dad and the betrayal. She said something that stuck with me: grief makes us vulnerable. The people who truly love us protect that vulnerability. They don't exploit it. Rita exploited it. In better news, I've been spending more time with my friend group. Kayla and I have been climbing together, she's teaching me the basics. It's a good workout and keeps my mind busy. Last night, she invited me to this outdoor climbing thing with her gym friends. I almost said no, felt like I should be home wallowing or something. But I went. It was amazing. There's something about being outside, focusing on where to put your hands and feet, that just empties your mind. When I made it up my first outdoor route, a baby one, but still, Kayla's face lit up with this huge smile. You're a natural, she said. I'm not ready for anything romantic. Not even close. But it's nice to remember that there are good people in the world. People who don't betray you when you're at your lowest. Update 4, 1 month later. Bit of a development. Rita asked to meet for closure. Against literally everyone's advice, I agreed. We met at a coffee shop in neutral territory. She looked rough. Like, really rough. Hair unwashed, no makeup, wearing sweats. This is a woman who wouldn't go to the mailbox without full face. She started crying before I even sat down. Launched into this speech about how sorry she was, how she'd been in a dark place, how losing Brandon made her realize what she lost with me. Losing Brandon? I asked. Not losing me. Losing Brandon made you realize. She backtracked, said that's not what she meant. But it was. Her regret wasn't about hurting me. It was about ending up alone. She told me Brandon had gotten back with his ex-girlfriend. That work was awkward now. That her friends were judging her. That she couldn't sleep in our old bed because it reminded her of her mistake. Mistakes, I corrected. Plural. 4 months of mistakes. Then she tried a different angle. Said we had too much history to throw away. That we could do couples therapy. That she'd do anything to prove she'd changed. Changed from what? I asked. From someone who F's other people while their partner's dad is dying? The bar's pretty low, Rita. She got angry then. Said I was being cruel, throwing it in her face, not letting her move past it. You don't get to move past it, I told her. I was at my father's funeral. My father's funeral, Rita. While you were in our bed with another man. There's no moving past that. Then she brought up Kayla. Said she knew I was already sleeping with her, that I'd probably been emotionally cheating our whole relationship, that this was my plan all along. I laughed. Actually laughed. I'm not sleeping with anyone. I'm trying to figure out how to exist without my dad and without the person I thought loved me. But it's interesting that you assume everyone else is as shitty as you are. She left in tears. But not before saying she knew I'd end up with Kayla, that she'd always known it would happen, that I'd prove her right in the end. The thing is, even if I did end up with Kayla someday, so what? Rita doesn't get to cheat for 4 months and then act like she's the victim of some prophecy she created. Update 5, 6 weeks later. You know what? F it. Kayla and I went on a date. It wasn't planned. We were at the climbing gym, working on this route she'd been trying to teach me for weeks. I finally nailed it, made it all the way up without falling. When I came down, she was beaming at me with this proud smile. I knew you could do it, she said. You just needed to trust yourself. Something about that moment, her genuine happiness for my small achievement, the way she'd patiently encouraged me for weeks without getting frustrated, it just hit different. Would you want to get dinner? I asked. Like, actual dinner. A date dinner. She blinked, surprised. Are you sure? I don't want to rush you or... I'm sure. We went to this Thai place she loves. Talked for 3 hours. She told me she'd had a crush on me in college but never acted on it because I was always in relationships. I told her about Rita's journal entries, about the jealousy and insecurity. That's so weird, she said. I literally went out of my way to respect your relationship. I made sure to never text you late at night, never be alone with you at parties, never do anything that could be misconstrued. The contrast was stark. Here was someone who respected boundaries I didn't even know existed, while my actual girlfriend was effing her coworker. At the end of the night, I walked her to her car. I need to be honest, I said. I'm still pretty effed up from everything. I might not be the best boyfriend material right now. I'm not asking you to be my boyfriend, she said. I'm just asking you to be open to possibility. We kissed. It was different than kissing Rita. Softer but more intense. Like she actually wanted to be there. I drove home feeling something I hadn't felt in months, hope. Update 6, 2 months later. Kayla and I are officially together. I know some of you will say it's too soon. That I'm rebounding. That I haven't properly healed. Maybe you're right. But here's what I know. Kayla shows up. When I have bad days about my dad, she doesn't make it about her. She brings me food and sits quietly while I eat it. When I need space, she gives it without drama. When I need closeness, she's there without questions. She met my mom last week. Not as my girlfriend, Mom doesn't know yet, but as my friend who was helping me clean out Dad's garage. Mom loved her immediately. Said she was such a sweet girl and asked why I'd never brought her around before. She was always around, I told Mom. I just couldn't see it. The physical side is incredible too. Not just the sex, though that's amazing, but the intimacy. The way she touches me casually. The way she curls into me when we watch movies. The way she kisses me like she means it, every time. Rita found out through Instagram. Kayla posted a photo of us at a concert. Within minutes, my phone exploded. 15 missed calls. 23 texts. 3 voicemails. All variations of, how could I move on so fast? She knew I'd been cheating all along. This proved she was right about Kayla. I was a piece of SHT who used my dad's death to upgrade girlfriends. She hoped we were miserable together. I showed Kayla. She read through them, shrugged, and said, wanna block her? No drama. No jealousy. No making it about her. Just a simple solution to a simple problem. I blocked Rita on everything. Update 7, 3 months later. This is getting weird. Found out through mutual friends that Rita has been stalking Kayla's social media from fake accounts. She's watching every story, liking old photos, even commenting generic things like cute outfit. From accounts with no profile pictures. Kayla noticed the weird activity and mentioned it to me. We did some digging and found at least 4 fake accounts that were obviously Rita. She's watching everything. Every climbing video. Every dinner photo. Every story about our weekend trips. The obsession is concerning. Diana, Rita's former best friend who's now team me, told me Rita talks about us constantly. Shows people our photos. Analyzes everything Kayla posts. Compares herself to Kayla obsessively. She keeps saying she knew this would happen, Diana told me. Like she manifested it or something. It's weird. Yeah, Rita. You manifested your boyfriend moving on after you cheated on him for 4 months. Real psychic energy there. Update 8, 4 months later. Had to see Rita at a wedding. Mutual friend from college. Thought about skipping, but F that. I'm not letting her take anything else from me. Kayla and I walked in looking good. I mean, really good. She wore this green dress that made her eyes pop. I was in my best suit. We looked like we belonged together. Rita was already drunk when we arrived. Standing at the bar, watching the door. The second she saw us, her face went through about 15 emotions. Ended on rage. We ignored her. Found our table, said hi to friends, acted normal. During dinner, I could feel her staring. Kayla noticed too but just squeezed my hand under the table. You okay? She whispered. Never better, I said. And meant it. We were dancing to some slow song when Rita appeared. Full drunk, mascara smudged, wine breath. I need to talk to you, she slurred at me. No, thanks, I said, trying to keep dancing. Please. Just 5 minutes. I deserve that. Kayla stepped back. I'll go get us drinks, she said, kissing my cheek. No drama, no possession, just trust. Rita watched her go with this bitter expression. She's not that pretty. What do you want, Rita? I made a mistake. Mistakes. Plural. For 4 months. Stop throwing that in my face. I know what I did. I know I effed up. But seeing you with her. It's clingy. That's not my problem. She started crying. Ugly crying. I was right, wasn't I? You always wanted her. I could feel it. That's why I went to Brandon. Because I knew eventually you'd choose her. I didn't choose anyone while we were together. You did. You chose Brandon. In our bed. While I was at my dad's funeral. Stop saying that. Why? It's what happened. You don't understand what it was like. You were never there. Always at the hospital, always with your family, always sad. I felt like a ghost in my own relationship. My father was dying. And I was dying too. Dying for attention, for affection, for my boyfriend to see me as more than just support staff for his grief. I stared at her. This woman I'd loved. Who I'd built a life with. Who was so broken she couldn't see past her own needs even now. You know what the difference is between you and Kayla? I said. When I'm hurting, she doesn't make it about her. When I need space to grieve, she doesn't F someone else. She just loves me. Simply. Without conditions. I loved you. No. You loved what I did for you. You loved the attention, the relationship, the security. But love? Real love? You don't know what that is. She slapped me. Hard. Right there on the dance floor. The music stopped. Everyone turned. Kayla was there in seconds, putting herself between us. You need to leave, Kayla said calmly to Rita. This is none of your business, BCH. You just assaulted my boyfriend. That makes it my business. Security was already coming. Rita was escorted out, screaming about how we'd ruined her life, how we deserved each other, how she hoped we were happy now that we'd destroyed her. We left shortly after. In the car, Kayla held my hand. You okay? She asked. Yeah. Weirdly, yeah. I think I finally got closure. By getting slapped? By seeing who she really is. Who she's always been. I just couldn't see it before. We drove home in comfortable silence. No drama. No processing. No making it about her. Just peace. Update 9, 6 months later. Life update, everything is pretty effing great. Kayla and I are moving in together next month. Found a place near the climbing gym with a balcony and room for both our home offices. It's nothing fancy, but it's ours. My mom loves her. Loves her. Keeps asking when we're getting married, wants to teach her all dad's favorite recipes, calls her more than she calls me. I always wondered why you never dated that lovely girl from college, Mom said last week. She's so much more stable than Rita. Understatement of the century, Mom. The intimacy continues to blow my mind. Not just physically, the holy SHT, when someone actually wants you, not just the idea of you, it changes everything. But emotionally too. We talk about everything. Process things together. Make decisions as a team. Last week I had a breakdown about my dad. Just hit me out of nowhere. Started sobbing while making dinner. Kayla just held me. Didn't try to fix it. Didn't make it about her. Just held me until I was done. I'm sorry, I said after. For what? For being human? For missing your dad? Never apologize for that. Meanwhile, Rita's been. Well, Rita. She sent me a letter last month. An actual, physical letter. 10 pages of word vomit about her feelings, her regrets, how she's been in therapy and finally understands what she did wrong. The gist, she was insecure about Kayla from day one. Felt like she could never measure up. So she found someone, Brandon, who made her feel superior. Someone who worshipped her without challenging her. Someone safe. But when Brandon dumped her for his ex, she realized he'd been using her the same way she'd been using him, for ego fuel. The irony wasn't lost on her. She ended with, "I know you'll never forgive me. I don't forgive myself. But I need you to know that you were right. I didn't love you. I loved what you represented, stability, future, someone who had their SHT together. I'm working on learning what real love is. I hope I find it someday. I hope I can love someone the way you love Kayla. The way she loves you. You both deserve it." I showed it to Kayla. She read it, handed it back, and said, "Do you want to keep it?" "I don't know. Maybe? For closure? Then keep it. But maybe not in our new apartment. That's our fresh start." Our fresh start. I like the sound of that. Final update, 1 year later. This'll be my last update. Figure we need to end this novel somewhere. Kayla and I have been living together for 6 months. It's everything living with Rita wasn't. We split chores without a chart. We give each other space without it being a thing. We have sex because we want each other, not because it's been X days and we should. She set up a little memorial corner for my dad in our apartment. His photo, his watch, a few things that smell like him. Never asked, just did it one day while I was at work. I came home and cried. Good tears this time. We're planning a climbing trip to Thailand next month. Something Rita and I always talked about but never did because she'd find excuses. Kayla's already got our routes mapped, gear rented, everything planned. When I thanked her for handling it, she laughed. "I'm not handling it for you. I'm planning it with you. Because I actually want to go." The difference. Always the difference. Rita moved to Portland. Blocked us both on everything, finally. Diana says she's doing better. Has a new job, new therapist, supposedly staying single while she works on herself. I hope that's true. Despite everything, I don't wish her ill. I just wish her gone, which she now is. Brandon's married to his ex now. That must sting. Wonder if Rita thinks about that while she's lying in bed. The man she destroyed her relationship for, living happily ever after with someone else. But that's not my problem anymore. My problem now is deciding which climbing route to tackle first in Thailand. My problem is remembering to buy oat milk because Kayla's lactose intolerant. My problem is figuring out how to propose in a way that's meaningful but not cheesy. Yeah. I'm going to propose. Already talked to mom about grandma's ring. Kayla and I have discussed marriage, kids, the whole future thing. No games, no dancing around it. Just honest conversation about what we want. "I want you," she said simply when I asked about her 5-year plan. "Everything else, we'll figure out together." Together? What a concept. To everyone who's been following this saga, thanks for the support, the advice, the reality checks. To those who said I moved on too fast with Kayla, maybe. But when you've been in a relationship that was dead for months before it officially ended, when you've been emotionally alone while supposedly partnered, when you finally experience real love, you don't wait. You grab it with both hands and hold on tight. To those in similar situations, it gets better. The person who cheats on you while you're grieving isn't your ceiling. They're showing you exactly who they are. Believe them. And then believe that you deserve better. Because you do. And to Rita, if you're reading this from whatever new account you've created, you were right about one thing. I did find better. I found someone who loves me at my worst and celebrates me at my best. Someone who sees grief as part of love, not competition for attention. Someone who builds me up instead of tearing me down. You said I'd never find someone like you. Thank effing God for that. Edit, since everyone's asking, yes, I'm still in therapy. Grief doesn't just end because you find happiness. It lives alongside it. Kayla understands that. She doesn't try to replace my grief with her presence. She just exists beside it, making the load lighter. Edit 2, for those calling this fake because it's too perfect, it's not perfect. We fight about dumb SHT like any couple. She leaves her climbing gear everywhere. I apparently snore like a freight train. We're working on communication styles because she's direct and I'm still learning not to be passive aggressive. Thanks Rita for that toxic trait. The difference is we actually work on our issues instead of effing other people about them. Edit 3, Jesus Christ, the DMs. Yes, Kayla knows I posted this. She's read every update. She laughs at the comments thirsting over her. No, she won't be posting her side. She says her side is simple. I liked a guy for years, he became available, I shot my shot, it worked out. She's not big on drama or lengthy explanations. Another difference from, well, you know. Edit 4, To the person who messaged saying they're Rita and demanding I take this down, nice try, but Rita doesn't use you instead of you in texts. Also, Rita's blocked. Also, eat SHT whoever you are. Edit 5. Since this blew up way more than expected, let me address the revenge aspect some of you keep bringing up. Is it revenge that I'm happy? That I found someone who actually loves me? That my life got better after removing a toxic person? If Rita feels like my happiness is revenge, that's her projection. I'm just living my life. The fact that she's apparently still checking up on us, hi Diana, thanks for the info, is her problem, not mine. Edit 6. Kayla here. She's literally looking over my shoulder and demanded typing privileges. Thank you to everyone who's been so supportive. To those asking for NDS, grow up. To those saying I was waiting in the wings, I had my own life and relationships during their time together. I respected their relationship even when she didn't respect it herself. To those saying he moved on too fast, you didn't see the months of friendship and support before anything romantic happened. You didn't see him crying in my car after therapy. You didn't see the work he put into healing. Also, there's no timeline for moving on from someone who betrays you at your lowest moment. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, she's done hijacking my post. Edit 7. One last thing. To everyone sharing their own stories of betrayal and recovery in the comments, you're effing warriors. Every single one of you who chose yourself, who walked away, who refused to accept less than you deserve. Your stories helped me on dark nights when I wondered if I was doing the right thing. Keep sharing. Keep healing. Keep believing you deserve better. Because you do. Edit 8, the actual final edit. Kayla just asked what I'm typing so intensely. Told her I was writing our story. She read this whole post over my shoulder, kissed my forehead, and said, "You left out the best part." What's that? I asked. The part where we live happily ever after. Cheesy as F. But you know what? After everything, the betrayal, the grief, the recovery, I'll take cheesy. I'll take simple. I'll take a woman who loves me openly and honestly over one who effed around while I buried my father. Every effing time. Peace out, Reddit. Thanks for the therapy. 1 year later, surprise update. I know I said I was done updating, but something happened that felt like it needed to be shared. Call it closure. Call it karma. Call it whatever you want. Kayla and I are engaged. Proposed last month in Thailand, on top of a mountain we just climbed. She said yes before I even finished asking. We're getting married next fall, small ceremony, just family and close friends. Mom's already planning the menu. But that's not why I'm updating. Rita reached out. Through LinkedIn, of all places. A professional message that quickly turned personal. She's been sober for 6 months, apparently the drinking got bad after she moved, in intensive therapy, and working through what she calls the wreckage of her past. She wanted to apologize. Properly. Said her therapist suggested writing a letter but she wanted to say it directly. Against my better judgment, and Kayla's raised eyebrow, I agreed to a phone call. It was heavy. She took full responsibility. No excuses about being lonely or neglected. No blame shifting. Just ownership. I was broken long before your dad got sick, she said. I was so insecure, so convinced I wasn't enough, that I created a self-fulfilling prophecy. I was so scared of you leaving me for someone better that I pushed you away in the worst possible way. She talked about her therapy, about discovering her patterns of self-sabotage, about her deep-seated fear of abandonment that made her abandon others first. The funeral. She paused. There's no excuse. None. The fact that I could do that I could be that cruel, that I could make your grief about me. It showed me how sick I was. How narcissistic. How completely unable to love anyone, including myself. She asked about my dad. Said she was sorry she wasn't there for me when he died. That she thinks about him sometimes, remembers his laugh, his terrible dad jokes, how proud he was of me. He would have loved Kayla, she said. He would have loved how happy she makes you. He always wanted you to find someone who saw your worth. I never did. I only saw what you could do for me. Then she told me about Kayla. How she'd stalked her social media, I knew that, but also how she'd started following Kayla's climbing blog for inspiration. How she'd started therapy after reading one of Kayla's posts about facing your fears. How watching our happiness from afar had initially tortured her but eventually motivated her to get help. I know it's effed up, Rita said. But seeing you two together, seeing real love, it made me realize I'd never felt it. Not for you, not for anyone. I loved the idea of love. The security of it. But actual love? The kind that shows up at funerals and holds space for grief? I didn't know what that was. She's not dating. Says she needs to learn to be alone, to be okay with herself before she inflicts herself on anyone else. She's been rock climbing too, started as a way to understand what I saw in it, stayed because it helped her feel strong. I know you'll never forgive me, she said finally. I don't forgive myself. But I needed you to know that I understand now. What I did. What I lost. What I never deserved in the first place. I told her I appreciated the apology. That I hoped she continued getting help. That I wished her well, but that this needed to be our last conversation. I know, she said. Thank you. For taking the call. For being you. For showing me what love looks like, even if I couldn't receive it. We hung up. I sat there for a while, processing. Kayla came in, saw my face, and just hugged me. You okay? She asked. Yeah. Just. Closure, I guess. Good closure or bad closure? Good. Definitely good. She kissed me. Come on. Let's go climb. I want to show you this new route I mapped out. And just like that, life moved forward. No drama. No lingering. Just forward. That's the thing about real love. It doesn't keep you stuck in the past. It pulls you into the future, one climb at a time. Rita was right about one thing, I did find better. But not because Kayla's prettier or more successful or any of the surface SHT Rita was insecure about. I found better because I found someone who understands that love isn't about being the center of someone's universe. It's about being their partner while they navigate it. Even the dark parts. Especially the dark parts. To everyone still struggling with betrayal, still wondering if they'll ever trust again, still hurting, you will. It won't be the same. You'll be different. But different isn't worse. Sometimes, different is exactly what you needed all along. And to anyone thinking about cheating on their partner while they're going through loss, don't. Just effing don't. End the relationship if you must, but don't add betrayal to grief. The scars from that cut different. They cut forever. But even those scars can lead you somewhere better. Trust me. I'm living proof. Wedding update, 2 years after D-Day. Got married last weekend. It was perfect. Not Pinterest perfect, it rained, the caterer mixed up the vegetarian options, and my uncle got drunk and tried to breakdance. But perfect in all the ways that mattered. Kayla looked stunning. Wore her mom's dress with new boots underneath, because of course she wore climbing boots to our wedding. When she walked down the aisle, I lost it. Full ugly crying. Jerome had to hand me tissues twice during the ceremony. My mom walked me down the aisle. Dad's photo was on an empty chair in the front row. Kayla had suggested it, made sure his favorite flowers were in the arrangement. During the father-daughter dance, she danced with my mom instead. Wasn't a dry eye in the place. Diana came. Yeah, Rita's ex-best friend. She's part of our friend group now. During her toast, she said, I watched Matt go through HL and come out stronger. I watched him find someone who doesn't just love him but likes him. Someone who sees grief as part of love, not competition for it. Someone who shows up. Kayla, thank you for being everything he deserved all along. The best part? I believed it. Every word. No doubt, no insecurity, no waiting for the other shoe to drop. Just certainty that I'd found my person. We're in Costa Rica now for our honeymoon. Surprise, surprise, we're climbing. But also just existing together. Watching sunsets. Trying weird food. Having the kind of sex you have when you're completely secure and being wanted. Living. Rita sent a card. Simple. Respectful. Wishing you both a lifetime of happiness. You deserve it. No return address. Kayla and I read it together, acknowledged it, and moved on. The past is the past. My therapist says I've integrated the grief, both from Dad and from the betrayal. That they'll always be part of my story but they don't define my chapters anymore. She's right. To everyone who followed this journey from that horrible day 2 years ago, thank you. Your support, your hard truths, your encouragement meant everything. You helped a broken man remember he was worth fixing. And to anyone reading this who's in the middle of their own betrayal, it ends. The pain ends. The obsessing ends. The wondering what you did wrong ends. And when it does, there's space for something new. Something better. Something real. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Trust that the person who breaks you isn't the person who defines your capacity for love. They're just the person who teaches you what love isn't. Now if you'll excuse me, my wife, holy SHT, my wife, is waiting for me on the balcony with coffee and plans for today's adventure. Life's good, Reddit. Life's really effing good. Final update, 3 years after D-Day. Kayla's pregnant. Found out last week. We'd been trying for a few months, but still, seeing that positive test hit different. We just sat on the bathroom floor, holding each other, crying happy tears. I'm going to be a dad. The thing that triggered the beginning of the end with Rita, my father's illness, has led to me creating new life with someone who understands that grief and joy can coexist. The full circle of it all isn't lost on me. We told my mom yesterday. She screamed so loud the neighbors came to check on us. She's already knitting blankets and planning to move closer to help with the baby. Your father would be so proud, she said, holding my face. So proud of the man you've become. The partner you've become. I think about that a lot. What Dad would think of all this. He met Rita a few times, was always polite but distant. The one time he met Kayla, at a group thing in college, he pulled me aside after and said, "Now that's a girl with a good head on her shoulders." Even then, he knew. I'm writing this final update not to brag or rub anything in anyone's face, but to show that life goes on. That betrayal doesn't end your story. That the worst thing that happens to you might just lead to the best things. 3 years ago, I was broken. Grieving my father. Betrayed by my partner. Convinced I'd never trust again. Certain I'd never be truly happy. Now I'm married to my best friend. We're starting a family. I honor my father's memory daily. I've built a life that's mine, not a performance for someone else's insecurity. Rita's journey isn't my concern anymore, but I heard through the grapevine she's doing well. Still in therapy, still single by choice, actually rock climbing competitively now. Maybe she found herself at the top of a mountain too. I hope she did. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, but it does mean releasing the anger. She was sick. She got help. End of that story. Beginning of mine. To everyone reading this who thinks their life is over because someone betrayed them, it's not. It's beginning. The life you were meant to live, with people who deserve you, is waiting on the other side of the pain. Walk through it. Climb through it. Crawl if you have to. But get to the other side. Because the view from here? Worth every effing step. Peace out, Reddit. For real this time. Got a nursery to plan and a wife to spoil. Thanks for everything. Matt. P.S. We're naming him after my dad if it's a boy. Kayla's idea. Because that's what real partners do, they honor your past while building your future. Find someone who does both. You deserve it. Thank you so much for watching until the end.